You sound fine.
All right. Welcome, everybody. I am so grateful to be here today with these amazing nature journal educators. And I think all of you have been on the show. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. Okay, so we've got Beth Ann, Melinda, and Amaya, all amazing nature journal educators. And all of them have Patreon pages too. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But first, the first thing, because we have such a visual audience and everybody has really cool backgrounds, but let's see some pages. Could you just, each one of you, like hold up some of your nature journal? I'll hold up mine too, just to kind of some recent nature journal pages, maybe just to flash some imagery for the audience here. There are people watching at home can see some of these cool pages. Nice. Looks like lots of plants, Great. Let's flip through some more pages. Nice. Oh, toned papers. Everyone on toned. Melinda, are you on white paper or is that toned paper
this is white right now.
Okay. Cool. Nice variety there. Thank you all for sharing. So what we're going to do is we're going to all be asking questions, and on my screen I'm seeing Beth Ann, Melinda, and Amaya. So we'll go in Beth Ann, Melinda, Amaya order for now, and then we'll switch it up later. And I'm just going to say hi to some of the people who are commenting here in the audience. So I see Debbie is here, Jean is here. Welcome to the show. I know there's some people who are watching that haven't posted in the chat, but you can post in the chat on the side there and say hi or ask any questions. Marilyn is here, so it's a nice crew of people showing up. Okay, so let's first, maybe while holding up one of your nature journal pages, you could just maybe describe your ideal nature journal outing. What would your ideal nature journaling session look like? Starting with Beth Ann.
Okay, well, this is my very latest one, which I did just the other day. Whoop. And do you know what my ideal is? And this sounds really weird, but I just love sitting alone and taking it all in. I think when you have a little kid, you don't get a lot of alone time. And so my ideal is to just sit and be very meditative, and ideally just be looking and finding things that are surprising. And I don't go far afield. I've got a lovely backyard, and I just love taking in what's around me in my backyard.
Awesome. How about you, Melinda? What's your ideal nature journaling session?
Okay, so here's a recent one. I've been really pretty busy, and I can feel that I am craving to be out in nature, not walking the dog and listening to a podcast at the same time and being in nature, but really just being present. Sometimes even without drawing, just really noticing and being present. So I really liked being there recently. I just looked at the colors and decided, oh my gosh, there's so many different greens and browns right now, and just did some dots of color so that I didn't get into the logical mind so much and like analytical about everything, because I have a science background. I can go there very easily. And what I was really craving is just being present. And then I stood in awe of this redwood, a bunch of redwood trees. And the trail went down way below, and there was this cut on the hillside, and all the roots were exposed and all the ferns, and there was bark on the roots of the redwood tree. So I just was in awe to be in presence of something so massive and old and so resilient. And so my ideal time in nature is where I can just fully be present to listen to the whispers that happen from nature, not just like my thinking and curiosity, which is really good to cultivate in the beginning. There are people, are so busy we can't even slow down. But once we get that tap into that taste of slowing down to nature's pace, is making time for stillness.
Awesome. That's super cool. I like how you did the sort of 2-page spread there with the tree and the roots.
Yeah.
How about you, Amaya? What's your ideal session like?
I I feel like I don't really have an ideal session. It's just when I enjoy myself most, then that's my ideal session. But I do really like nature journaling experiences. So I was in a restaurant. I bring this journal everywhere, and I was in a restaurant sitting down, and there was a lady, and she had a pet raccoon, and I was like, what? That's a thing? I was like, how? And she said she rescued it and trained it. And so of course I was like, I've got a nature journal list, so I've got some vine contours and all this stuff. And I was just like, what? And so that was an experience to me, and I really enjoyed myself and enjoyed the process of nature journaling. So hope that answers the question.
I like that you had your nature journal ready to go at the restaurant, because you never know when you're going to see a raccoon. So
Yeah.
great. Awesome. Okay, so some of my next questions here are about how you got started. But I think what I want to do first, since we're still early in the video here, in case people can't watch the whole thing, is I'm going to go ahead and put people's, before we're going to talk more about each other's Patreons in a moment here, but I just wanted to share those in the comments so that people can find you all. I'm just going to go ahead and post these real quick in the comments. And you all have different names for your pages. So we've got No Into the Wonder is Amaya's, and we'll talk more about these names and stuff in a moment. And then we've got Journaling with Nature is the podcast and Beth Ann's project. And then Spark in Nature is Melinda, right?
Yep.
Oh, and it looks like Amaya and Melinda have those. That's fancy. I wonder if I should start doing that.
What?
Beth, maybe we should start in our name adding the little thing there. So hopefully people will be able to use those in the comments to link over if they want to find more information, or they don't get to watch the whole video, because not everyone's going to stick around for the whole thing. But okay, so our next question, and we'll do a round again, starting with Beth Ann, is and maybe try to keep it a little bit short, but like, how did you get started? In a few sentences, how did you get started with nature journaling?
My very first nature journaling experience was way back in university in the early 2000s, and I started for a class, a field journal. And then years later, I came back to it as a personal expression of gratitude and what I was seeing outdoors, because I was very unwell, and I came to it as a self-care practice. And then it just became such an important part of my life that it just grew and grew and grew from there.
I love that story, Beth Ann. And I did do an interview with Beth Ann. If you all haven't seen that yet, I'll post a link later, but that was a cool interview, and she talked about her history around that also. So Melinda, how about you? How did you get started with nature journaling?
Yeah, it's definitely a journey, and it's evolved over time. So I'm not sure at what point it became quote unquote nature journaling, but I started I called it a nature journal in 1998. And it was a sketchbook with a list of all the wildlife that I saw on whale watching trips or on birding trips. And I was learning about birds, and I used it as a tool to get to know the birds in my area, to learn how to identify them, to learn where they are. So my first journals were mostly about like what bird I saw, a paragraph describing the situation, and then some sketches. And then it was when I got Claire Walker Leslie's book that it developed into something more than what I was using it for.
That's such a cool story. I remember when I interviewed you and I asked you that, and you said 1998, and I was like, wow, that is OG for nature journaling, because yeah, I feel like few people even knew that term back then. But a good point about how we don't necessarily know that we're nature journaling until we learn about that term. But yeah, love that. 1998, super OG. Okay, so that makes a perfect segue to our youngest contestant in tonight's show. How about you, Amaya? How did you get started? Were you born in 1998?
No, I wasn't even born until after Miss Bethan started nature journaling, so I'm a little newbie here. I got started because my mom told me to. Basically, that's the long story short. I'm a homeschooler, and so I am homeschooled. So my mom, it was a part of my school to do nature journaling. So for 1 year, nature journaling was my science for that year. And it's not that I didn't like it. I was just not into it as much as I am now. And then it blossomed into this. I've got a lot of journals now, let's say.
Awesome. I love that. My mom told me to do it. Well, that's congratulations to your mom and kudos to your mom. Okay, so and then how about teaching? Maybe we could each go through and um, describe what plant or animal would best represent your teaching style.
Oh gosh.
Starting with Beth Ann. No, okay, fine. Starting with Amaya. We'll start with Amaya.
I thought it was.
Sorry, Amaya.
I thought it was the little one. I thought I didn't get. Okay. I guess my teaching style. I don't know. The first animal that popped. Well, it's not an animal. The first thing that popped in my head was a salamander for some reason. So I feel like maybe because I'm like, I don't know. I really like salamanders. Maybe that's why. But the first class I took, like a professional nature journaling class from Jack out in the field, we caught live salamanders. So maybe that's linked back to like, I like the way Jack teaches and I implement that in my journal.
Great job. All right, Melinda, don't overthink it, but what plant or animal would best represent your teaching style?
Oh gosh, what plant or animal? I'm having a hard time finding something, but my teaching style is really nurturing and creating a comfortable and warm space. So I'm trying to think of, gosh, you know what comes to mind is a koala.
Yeah, great.
Like this koala with arms, you know, creating this warm, cozy space.
I like it. Yeah.
I love that,
you,
Melinda. Okay, Marley, your lightning questions.
This isn't even the lightning round yet.
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm thinking that my style is to listen, and I'm trying to think of an animal that listens, but an owl keeps coming to my mind because I love to just make a space for people to share and to listen to them. So I'm just going to say an owl. I don't know if owls listen, but
that's perfect. I could totally see that as your like logo for your podcast too, the listening element. The owls laugh also because I think the first podcast episode of yours I listened to was the one where you interviewed Marine Mumbles.
we laughed the whole way.
Laughed the whole episode.
I know. Okay, maybe it's an owl next to a kookaburra because they.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Love it. Okay, so the next question is, what is the coolest thing that you have learned through teaching nature journaling? What is the coolest thing that you've learned as a nature journal educator that you wouldn't have learned maybe if you were just practicing nature journaling and not actually having to teach it? And we'll go back from the top.
I can do this one.
Okay.
The coolest thing that I've learned is that everybody does it differently. I love that you can do an exercise and have people drawing, you know, there's that wonderful activity where everyone draws a leaf of the same species and they put it in the middle and they guess who the journal belongs to. And I just love that everyone can be journaling the same thing and they do it in such an array of different ways. And I think that we are also wonderfully different. And I think the journal reflects that. And I think that's a beautiful thing, that we can journal the same thing and do it so differently and then learn from each other.
Really cool. How about you, Melinda?
Try not to overthink it. What came to mind was that we're all on our own individual journey. We start where we're at, wherever we are, and we can all share in that experience, and that it doesn't have to be someone who has a certain level of knowledge is the only one who imparts information. Because what I've learned with teaching nature journaling is it's not about gaining knowledge, but it's about learning how to see. And so that the big thing that I've learned through teaching is that there is still so much for me to learn every day from nature and from each other.
Yeah. How about you, Amaya?
I guess I would have to say the joy that it brings me from teaching. Like, I didn't realize that, like, seeing a child geeking out over the same thing as me, I'm just like, yes, this is so amazing. So definitely teaching is like, it brings me a joy. I wasn't expecting that.
Cool. Wow, I love these answers. Okay, so last sort of question about teaching before we dive more into Patreon stuff is, what is your number one recommendation for beginners? Like, I feel like all of you have worked a fair amount with like little kids, and maybe adults who are, have some obstacles that they're working with. But what is your number one recommendation for newbie nature journalers, people who are just getting started with nature journaling?
I would say, and again, it goes back to what Melinda suggested, that you start where you are, and that it really, really is not about art. There's this tendency for people to think, this is an art activity. And a lot of people really tighten up when they see that. When they see a bunch of art materials laid out, the first instinct in a lot of people is to go, oh, no. And so my first thing is to say, this is not about art. This is about exploration, connection, observation, curiosity. And so just to emphasize that, take that art thing away and let's go forward with curiosity and observations about nature.
Nice. How about you, Melinda?
I love that. Can you repeat the question? I was just
what is your, all of us have worked with like little
it's the
kids and adults.
newbies. Okay.
Yeah, what is like your number one recommendation for beginners?
Number one recommendation is to be gentle with yourself. We each have, I believe most people I've met have a harsh inner critic or inner voice or whatever you want to call it that keeps us from doing the things we want to do because of some kind of fear. And so that's my number one thing is it gets easier and you get better over time. So if you can get past that initial, harshness of criticism and just be gentle with yourself. It's okay not to finish. It's okay to be messy. I actually encourage being messy. And we're drawing to learn, so not for art. So
nice.
Those are kind of the key things. Yeah.
Great. How about you, Amaya?
The first thing I would say is like nature journal everything. That's what I do, and I learn so much more, and I enjoy it so much more. And then journal as much as you can. So nature journal everything, even if it seems silly, and then journal as much as you can.
Okay, this is awesome. I want all of you to be my teachers, and I feel like there's so much wisdom coming out right now and so many good recommendations. So if you're a nature journaling beginner or nature journal newbie or just getting started with nature journaling, write this stuff down in your nature journal or sketch note this whole conversation because that's probably the best thing to do. Okay, so let's jump in to talk about each other's Patreons a little bit because there's a lot of cool stuff that's happening. And I feel like Patreon is sort of a new platform. Some people haven't heard of it. It's basically a membership platform where people can support the artists, creators, and educators who are doing work that's in alignment with what they're interested in. And in some of those cases, people are like getting rewards or getting like a magazine or getting a physical thing from the creator. And in some cases, it's just like, I just like the work that this person is doing, and I want to give them $1, $5, $20 a month, or whatever, $20 a year or something like that. So that is what Patreon is. You can find out more about it online. And it's a way that a lot of people now who are creating free educational content can get some support to help doing that. But let's just go around and first sort of answer, maybe we can each one of you can describe your Patreon, and what can people expect when they join up. And I'll post the links to your Patreons again as well, but maybe just describe it, what it is and what you're doing specifically for Patreon. And if someone were to if I was interested in signing up, what can I expect?
Should I start?
Yeah.
So my Patreon started because I started way back last year after International Nature Journaling Week last year. I had this idea. I wanted to create a nature journaling specific podcast, and I did. And I have been interviewing people. It's a weekly podcast for anyone who loves nature journaling, and wants to explore the place where creativity and nature come together. And so I started doing that, and then I realized this is a lot of work. And it's hard to put out a weekly podcast. And so I joined up to Patreon just to have a way for people to support the podcast. And so I needed to keep it really simple because I'm doing all my work at nighttime, and I don't have a lot of time in the day because I'm raising a little one. And so my Patreon doesn't have tiers. It's just you pledge what you want. If you listen to the podcast and you enjoy it and you'd like to see the project continue, you pledge what you want. And I am just so grateful for the people who do that. And it's really validating. And so I occasionally put some videos of me behind the scenes just to check in and say hi. But mostly it's just a wonderful way for people to support the project.
Cool. So people sign up for, I signed up for yours. And so it's basically a way that people who are already like listening to this podcast realize, wow, I like this. And I want to have like some of the pride or whatever of knowing that I'm supporting it. And so cool.
Exactly.
Thanks for sharing, Beth Ann. And it's so cool that we have a podcast. I feel like that makes our, it's like, this is official, like, like nature journaling is legit. We have our own podcast now. So like while you're driving or washing the dishes, you can listen to the Journaling with Nature podcast. It's really fun. And it's a good way, I find, like, to get motivated before you go out and nature journal is listen to the interviews, maybe while you're driving to a location or something like that. So cool. How about you, Melinda? What, could you just briefly describe your Patreon and like, if I were to sign up, which I'm probably going to do like right after this because I haven't signed up for yours yet.
Okay.
What could I expect? Because it looks like you're working on developing some stuff for your
Yeah, I am. It's all a work in progress. So just to let you know, it's just I put it up there because I was inspired by a member of the nature journaling community who said, "Why aren't you on Patreon?" And I want to be able to support the people that I like. And I didn't really know the value of it because I thought, well, I have a donate button on my website for PayPal and you can set up an automated monthly payment. And I kind of, hemmed and hawed about it because it's a lot of work to put all of these different platforms together. And it's just me, solopreneur, doing all of this work. And I need to pay all of the bills and stuff. So I'm trying to streamline and make sure that there's enough of me to go around because I realized I was doing way more free things because I loved it. But then what I found is if I can't put food on the table and I'm not, present, then that doesn't make sense. And artists and creators should not live that way. And I love that Patreon has this ability so that we can support other people who are creative and start to normalize this idea that people who create things should not have to do it for free. That it's part of our gift and our skill and what we're bringing to the world. So right now I have 4 tiers, but what I can tell is any of those tiers, you can add more money. So if you're in between 2 of those tiers, I'm like, God, I just really want to give that in between amount, you can do that. So you pick the lower one and then you can bump up the price. So I thought that was really cool to find out. The upper tiers, I'm offering a complimentary membership to my private nature journaling online community. And that's in the works right now. It should launch hopefully the end of August or maybe early September. And that will be a private community because what I found is folks are more likely to share their work in a group where they know other people than something that's going to be public. I do have some public facing kind of billboard kind of things on Padlet and Facebook, and I've gotten the response that people want to have more, private spaces. So that'll be something that's coming up for, sharing days, discussions, different topics. So you'll automatically be a part of that membership, or you can sign up for the membership separately.
Cool. Thanks for sharing, Melinda. That's really awesome. And I think this is the kind of thing, I'm glad that you're working on this because I think this is the kind of thing like people who are interested in doing things other than Facebook. The Facebook Nature Journal Club is great and has grown to I think it's at 30,000 people. And some people don't really want to be on Facebook or aren't on Facebook. So it seems like what you're offering has some cool options for people who are. Someone is asking the name of Beth Ann's podcast. It's Journaling with Nature. And I think if you is it just journalingwithnature.com and they could find it, or Journaling with Nature if they search it in like iTunes?
Yes, so journalingwithnature.com is my personal website, and there's a page on there that has all the podcast episodes that you can find. If you also just type in Journaling with Nature into Apple iTunes or
Okay, she found it.
Spotify, perfect. Anywhere that you find podcast, it should be if you type Journaling with Nature.
Okay, great. Sorry for that interruption.
Cindy.
Just want to help Cindy out there. Okay, so thanks Melinda and Beth Ann for sharing and describing about your Patreon. How about you, Amaya? What could you describe your Patreon and what people can expect when they join up?
Yeah, so I created a Patreon. It's kind of funny. I'm like, I don't have a job, and I'm still doing school, and then I'm trying to balance YouTube and the magazine. So I was like, why not make a little money so I can save that for like big trips I want to do and stuff. And so I talked to my mom and I was like, do you think this would be something people would be interested in? She's like, yeah. So my tiers are a little interesting. So I'm like, I love it when people just give $1. Like that's like, it makes me so happy. Every morning I wake up and check my email. I'm like, Mom, I got a new Patreon. Like I'm so excited running around. And then my higher up tiers, there's one of the tiers that where I haven't done this yet. My magazine is free for right now, so anybody can look at it. Anybody can like download it and stuff. But there's one of my tiers on there where I will print it and I'll have it mailed to you each month. And then I have higher tiers where I'll do classes. Like I'll do mentoring sessions with you, and then I'll also do a class, and you can invite other friends to join the class too. So that's kind of fun. And you get to see posts and stuff that I post. I haven't posted anything in a while, but I've got some big things coming up, big adventures, so I'll be posting about those a lot more in detail there.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I'm a member of yours as well. And I think one thing for people to know too is that even if you just want to support these creators, you can sign up even if you don't think like, oh, I'm going to use all of these benefits or whatever. And one thing to point out, I think people who have kids, sometimes the like getting the buy-in or the motivation, especially with the older kids, can be a little bit challenging. So I would direct you towards Amaya, because I think having like, if you have examples of like a role model that is closer in age to your kids, or like, I think a lot of times even, younger kids, they see a teenager nature journaling, and that's much more motivating than seeing me nature journaling. As cool as me, Melinda, and Beth Ann are, I think sometimes like a teen nature journaling can be like a really powerful motivating force. So just kind of a little tip there. Here's my next question then, starting with Beth Ann, is if people want to get a taste of what you're doing, or is there somewhere online where people can just go and get like a little tidbit, or where? And this question will apply to everybody, because it seems like everybody's offering really different stuff, but where can people get a little taste or find out, get kind of a hint of what you're doing before kind of committing maybe to a subscription on your Patreon?
Yeah, so mine isn't like a subscription, as I said. It's just pledge what you want. So it can be $1 a month if that's what you want it to be. That's completely wonderful and fine. My podcast is out there, so you can listen to it anytime, and you can find it on my website, journalingwithnature.com. You can find it wherever podcasts are, but my website's a good place to go. On there, there's also a page with video, a few video classes that I've done here and there, and that gives a good sort of overview of what I'm all about. It's very much about the heart. It's very much about connection, and I love to bring people to each other, if that makes sense. I love to share each other's work, and to say, hey, have you heard about this person? Have you heard about this person? That's my thing. Marley, before we do too much more, I think that it's really important that you talk about your Patreon page too.
Okay, yeah. So let's see. I have a Patreon page, and it's for the Nature Journal Show, which you're watching right now. And my Patreon page is set up to basically show people like that they can help support the show. And I put people's names, all of my patrons, I put their names in the descriptions at the end of every video. So they get to see their name and get the pride of being a supporter of the Nature Journal show. And then I'm also starting to do a bunch of different things like stickers and mugs. And so I take like some of the lightning round questions and stuff like that and turning them into stickers and mugs. And then I also do coaching for one-on-one coaching for some of the tiers. And this month I'm doing a whole thing where I'm promoting my Patreon, and people can sign up for an annual membership. So you can get a discount if you sign up for the whole year. And I know some people don't like having like a monthly payment coming off of their credit card. And, you know, you can lose track of that or whatever. Some people don't like that. So signing up for a whole month, a whole year is actually better for some people, because you just say, okay, I'm going to sign up for a whole year. And that is an option that's now available on Patreon. And then I also do parties. So we have online parties like every 3 months or so, where people all show up. And there's several of my Patreon supporters here in the comments, and I try to always give them credit. And we also are doing a traveling journal. So we have like a traveling journal that's just for patrons, and it gets mailed from one patron to the next, and then we all like draw a nature journal in it. And it's super fun. Yeah, there's a bunch of people. Angie, a bunch of the people in the comments are supporters.
It's all about eating chocolate, they say there in the comments.
Like, hey, we like chocolate too.
Yay, nice. I forgot mine. Great. Thanks, Beth Ann, for bringing that up. Okay, so where were we? We're talking about if people want to get and Beth Ann also has an amazing Instagram, I want to point out. So you can, it's just journaling with nature. Is that it?
That's it. Yep.
Okay, great. So Melinda, how about you? Like if people want to get you offering some free classes, because I know you one of the main things you're focusing on is classes. So how can people get like a taste of your style and what you're offering?
There's a bunch of videos. I did a video for International Nature Journaling Week, for Wild Wonder, there's a bunch of videos on my website. So since March of last year, I've led free Monterey Bay Nature Journal Club sessions weekly, every Sunday, for I don't know how many weeks. And just this last couple of months, I've scaled back to twice a month to get a sense of balance in my life. And so that I have more energy to do other projects. So I'll be doing, I have some ideas for some exciting things that are going to be going on, like workshops in the future. So you can come to a free nature journal session. If you go to my website, sparkandnature.com, and go to the events tab, you can look for the next Sunday. We just had it earlier today, which was a lot of fun. And I have the recordings available, so you can go and check them out if you want to get a taste. I also teach some different courses and workshops that you can sign up for as well. Oh, and Instagram. So Instagram and my Spark and Nature Facebook page, there's posts and some of my pages, some of my work, and you can get a taste of my work there.
Awesome. Yeah, so Spark and Nature all over the place. Great. Awesome. And let's see here. So how about you, Amaya? Where is the best place for people to kind of get like a feeling of what you're up to?
Yeah, so if you wanted like a taste of how I taught one class, I completely forgot I did this. I'm sorry, Miss Beth, and I forgot. But I taught a class for International Nature Journaling Week. You can go on Miss Bethan's website and you can watch that video there. But
that's on naturejournalingweek.com.
Oh.
That's where you'll find it.
Okay, thank you. I get everything confused. But if you wanted like a little taste of how on one of my tiers I do a quarterly video, so it's a quarterly personal video telling you what I'm doing in the upcoming months or what I'm doing now. If you wanted a taste of that, you can watch my YouTube channel. And then I feel like Instagram is where you'll get the most personal taste of me. That is where I share myself fully. And so in my feed, I have all my journal pages, but in my story, I share like lately I've been sharing all the books I've been reading and all the books I've been buying. So that'll give you a little taste of who I am and what I do. If that
Great.
helps.
I'll post your Instagram here. So no into the wonder. And yeah, you can Instagram. I follow you on Instagram, and that's where I find out the adventures and stuff that you're on. Cool, great. So there's a lot of places where people can get like a little glimpse of what you're up to. So next question, going back, starting with Beth Ann, is maybe just sort of describe who your ideal Patreon patron is. Like, what would the ideal person be who signs up for your Patreon?
So my listeners of the podcast are nature journalists who lean towards a heart connection, I guess. I do a lot of talking. I've just put it, actually, it's just going to be published in about half an hour. My latest podcast is very, very heartfelt conversation with an artist called Sarah Byfield, and she's in Wales. And at the end, last night I was recording my outro, and I've been feeling really like full of these complicated emotions that we're having at the moment through this pandemic, and I just let it out. And it's not uncommon for there to be tears of connection in the podcast. And so I guess my listeners are those who share that sensitivity and want to experience a connection with nature in that way and a connection with others in that way.
Beautiful. How about you, Melinda? What is your ideal? Who is the ideal person that would sign up for your Patreon?
I don't know about ideal, but I'll tell you if I guess that's the right word. Well, I'll describe what I'm about, and then if that resonates with you, then you are my ideal Patreon. I really love getting a genuine connection with people and with nature. And often on my classes and Sunday sessions, I get teary, and emotional and heartfelt. And I found that the more that I can do that, the easier my work is, and the more I can feel the connection with the other people on the other side. So if that resonates with you, just having a heartfelt connection with nature, developing your connection to nature, to the world around you, to give you a connection to your deep self and to connections with others through nature journaling and nature activities, then you are my ideal patron.
Nice. Yeah, I think it says on your Melinda Spark of Nature is creating nature journaling and connection, bridging nature, art, and heart. So yeah, I've definitely noticed that you use that word a lot. So cool. Okay. What about you, Amaya? What is your sort of ideal person that would become a member of your Patreon?
When you said that, and I was like, my ideal person is like anybody. Like anybody who would actually put like money and like spend time, like Amaya, you're worth like you're cool, man. Like you're cool. Like if that makes sense. So honestly, I feel like my ideal person is just anybody that wants to help support me. Like I have people, like I have my dad's cousin supports me through Patreon, and she doesn't nature journal at all, but that's like still like you are my ideal person. Like if you're enjoying what I do and you put effort into me, then you're my ideal person.
Good answer. Okay, cool. So let's just go through quickly. Some of you, this will be quick because I think some of you answered this already, but what tiers do you have? So like people can contribute at different levels. And I think sometimes people don't realize like, oh, wow, I could actually, sign up for this or that at just all it is like $5 a month. It's like I bought a coffee or like a green tea or whatever today that costs that much money. So maybe just describe what your tiers are. I think some of you have said this already, but like what your tiers are, like what levels of contribution people can give, and maybe what's connected to those, if anything.
Yep. So mine doesn't have tiers, and maybe I will do that in the future. I think I probably will when my son goes to school and I've got some more time. I have thought of offering this or that at different levels, but for now, it's just pledge what you feel, and I'm grateful for all the people who do that. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Thank you.
Great. So basically I could even, for like $1, so $1 or $20, or
Exactly.
I can use different currencies as well. Isn't that true?
Yeah, I think you just pledge in your own
Local
currency and it translates it for me. So I receive it in Australian dollars and it leaves your account in whatever currency, I
Great.
think.
So if I listen to the, nature journaling podcast, I could basically just, support for even $1, $1 a month
$1
or
a month.
whatever. That's really cool.
Yeah.
How about you, Melinda? What are your tiers, and what options do people have, and what's connected with the different ones?
Okay, I'm unmuted now. I just set it up recently, so it's going to evolve. So just know that this is what it is today. I have a sky level at $5 a month, and an ocean level at $15. And those are purely you love the work that I do, or you want to help me connect people to nature. And that's the support that you're giving me so that I can continue to the work that I do and offer free and low cost or affordable nature journaling. The tree level is at 35, and the let me see, my other level, otter level, at 50 a month. And those will include membership to my private online community, paid community. And maybe some other bonuses for, I'm thinking of, like, I like Marley, your idea of having a party. So it might be kind of fun to have just a special gathering for all the Patreon supporters periodically. So there will be more to come.
Nice. Yes. I think as someone who supports people on Patreon, I think it's like it's natural and to be expected that like things could change over time, like new things could come up as people figure out like what works best, and figuring out like what our audience actually wants most. So thanks for sharing that, Melinda. I just wanted to share this comment here. I think Jose has to go to sleep because he's in Spain and it's late, but I just wanted to share this because it's so sweet. He's just saying that this is a group of his most top loved nature journalers. So thank you so much, Jose, for those kind words. Really appreciate that. That's really sweet. And may you have good sleep, because yeah, it sounds like it's pretty late in Spain. Cool. Okay, how about you, Amaya? What are your tiers, and what is available for people at those tiers?
Before I forget, I just want to say hello to everybody. I keep forgetting that we're like live. All I see is like Marley, Melinda, and Bethan, so I feel like I'm on a Zoom call talking to my friends, but no, there's other people watching. So hello, everyone. And my tiers, I have a couple of them, and I'm trying things out and seeing how it's going. So I have a $1 Patreon and tier 2. I haven't named them super fun names yet, like Melinda has. I was thinking about it, but I was like, I want to put some time and effort into thinking about the names. So I have $1 tier and $2 tier, and those are super helpful to me. And in those, you get Patreon only posts. So when I go to really cool places coming up, you'll get to see like extra pictures than Instagram. So that's fun. And then I've got $10 a month, which is like official Patreon, I call it. So you'll receive extra quarterly bonus videos outside of YouTube. Then $20 a month is 45-minute mentoring session and quarterly videos and Patreon. So everything adds up in the next tier. $50 a month is the printed Nature Journaling magazine, Patreon only quarterly videos, and mentoring sessions. along with the posts. And then the $100 a month is the online Zoom class where you can, so it's an 8-week Zoom class, and you can invite up to 6 nature journaling friends to journal together, and then you get the quarterly videos, a printed magazine, and 45-minute one-on-one mentoring sessions, if that helps with the answer.
Awesome. Wow. There are so many things for nature journalers to tap into on Patreon. I think once you figure out, like how, I think for some people it takes a while to figure out the technology or whatever. That's been my experience. But like once you do, then it's easier to find other people who are doing nature journaling. So it's easier to support other people. That's how it's been for me. So cool. So that on that note, maybe we could just go around and say, who was the first person that signed up on your Patreon?
It was my mum.
Be honest. Be honest.
My mum was my first.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't want to have nobody on there, and I said, "Can you just sign up to full people?" No, to make me seem less, less. I don't know. That was my mum, but yeah.
Great, good answer. Your mom. Yeah. Okay. Great answer, Beth Ann. How about you, Melinda? Who was your first Patreon patron?
My first well, so I don't know why, but it just, I created it kind of incognito because I wasn't happy about all of the little pieces in place. Like Amaya's talking about the titles, and I was just getting all crazy. And then I just decided I'm just gonna set it out, and I sent it to Bethan, who we contact all the time, and she signed up right away. So even before I announced it, Bethan hopped in there as my first Patreon. So I'm super grateful.
Nice solidarity there. All right, how about you, Maya? Who was
So
your?
my parents were gonna be the first ones, and then my dad's like, "No, I'm just gonna hand you the $1 a month so you don't get the tax taken out," because I still live with them. They're just like,
Yeah.
here you go. And I think my first one was actually you, Marley. I think it was you. I'm not 100% sure. It was either you or Akshay. I can't remember, but you guys were the top 2. I was so happy. I was like, "Mine, I did it!" There's people out there.
Nice. Yeah, I think my mom was in the top first 3, but I had to help her with all the technological stuff, and then at a certain point she like somehow unsubscribed or something with her credit card happened, and then she was no longer, and then she couldn't figure out how. So I don't think my mom is watching the live show right now, so it's okay to share that. But the cool part is once you start getting people who aren't you're not related to, and that's always a good sign. Okay, so sort of last question here around Patreon is, if you had 800 members with a total support of $2,300 a month, what would you do? What would you do?
What would I do?
Mhm.
A dance. I don't know what to answer
Like,
about
would
that.
you just keep doing the podcast as normal?
If there
Or
was
would
that much
you?
support, like I don't have extra time at the moment, and that's my big thing. But next year, when I have more time, when my boy's at school, I would definitely do, that can become your job. And I would present weekly nature journaling how-to videos and make it into a whole job that you could just then dedicate your entire week to putting out content that supports nature journalers, open up to find out what people were interested in learning, and then just turning that into videos. That would be amazing.
Cool. So you'd put more time and more effort into making quality content, basically.
Yeah. And I love to tap into, like, what are you interested in learning? What are you interested in exploring? And then turning that into a video or a podcast.
Mhm.
I definitely would do videos in that case if I had more time, and just explore what the people are interested in learning about.
Cool. How about you, Melinda? If you had 800 supporters and like 2,300, or I can't remember what I said, a month.
Yeah, that's a huge jump from what I have right now. I would, like Bethan, would do a dance. I would continue nature journaling. Those are my first two things that popped into my mind. But I think what it would do is it would relieve a burden. It would relieve a tremendous burden. Not that I feel burdened right now, but I think what it is I'm feeling like this lightness, like this ability to not worry about how am I going to pay rent this month, and to move into a place where I could be more creative, because I know that when we're under stress and all of the, things that go along with that, our physiology, that it's harder for us to be creative. It's harder for us to be present, and it kind of trickles out. Right. So if I had that level of monthly support, I know that I could be, it's like imagining it right now is getting me really choked up, because I think it would give me the freedom to be a better mother. To be present, to be a better mother, to also, what I want to do is like, if I knew that my time was being, supported, and I wasn't like kind of working like a hamster in a wheel, that I would really love to work more with people, offer more free opportunities in my community with, we have a lot of schools and children around here and a lot of beautiful nature places. And I want to figure out a way to bring them together in a way that is really heartfelt, and not just, I want to do this nice thing so that I look good, but like really like give them that opportunity. And I would be doing that now, but making my work sustainable first. And if I had 800 patrons or whatever patrons, even just you supporting me each month, so 10 of you, 15, 30, 50 of you giving just a little bit. What comes to mind is my daughter's kindergarten teacher used to say, many hands make light work. And I really love that phrase, many hands. If so many of us put in a hand, put in a $5 bill to support and spread the love, if all four of us received $5 a month from somebody, how many cups of coffee would that be in a month that one person is buying? So, I mean, just kind of thinking about it that way. I know when I get off this call, I'm going to sign up to be supporters of several Patreon people after this call. But yeah, I think it would give me the freedom to do more of my work and expand into different opportunities.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for sharing, Melinda. I know it can be vulnerable. I feel like talking about money a lot of times, but I think we live in an interesting time where, one sort of perspective on it is that YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, they basically are not paying us, and we're working for free for those companies creating educational content. And like, if it were 50 or 100 years ago, we would be working for an organization that would be paying us for the art and the education and the entertainment we're providing. But these companies have this really cool business model where they get a bunch of people like us creating content for free. Then they get a bunch of other people consuming that free content, getting advertisements directed at them. And so they're making money from the advertisements. And then they can make money from us too when we want to like promote our posts or use some of the business features or whatever. So not to be like too conspiracy theory, and hopefully I won't get banned from all of these platforms for mentioning that. But it is kind of interesting to think, oh, wow, yeah, these are jobs that, 50 years ago, someone would be getting paid a salary for, and artists and creators and educators and entertainers today are doing them for free. But there's benefits to it also, but that's a whole nother thing. So how about you, Amaya? If you had a whole bunch of supporters and a whole bunch of support and money, how would you change or not change, or what would you do?
First of all, I would probably, I don't know, I'd probably give the money to my parents and be like, don't let me touch it. I'll buy one too many books with it. Like, that would be the first thing I'd do. Second, I would probably be spending so much time on the computer, like writing notes. Thank you so much to everybody. But then, like, when I go into, like, the mindset, like, what would I do to benefit them because they're benefiting me? I had this idea in my head of basically a goal would be to get the magazine into several different languages instead of just English. So that would be something that would do that. And then also, you weren't going super conspiracy theorist on us, Marley. You totally weren't. I get what you're saying, but it's also nice. I like there's pros and cons to social media, but I like it too because I can post my magazine to people all over the world. I was so happy when I saw how many people were reading it. I was like, yay! So that would be what I would do, is to get it into multiple different languages.
That is super cool. I can't believe we're really legit now. We have a podcast, we have a magazine, we have all of these like classes. Just wanted to share a little bit of comments here. Angie is signing up for all of your Patreons, and she is one of my very active Patreon patrons and gives me lots of good ideas. And she has sent me like cool stuff to try out too. I should also mention on that note, Beth Ann has sent me cool stuff to try out too.
Yeehaw! Did you give it a go?
Microscope. So
I love it.
Yeah.
So Marley, what would you do if you had that level of support?
Yeah, good question. I think I would really like to do is focus on making more educational videos that are directed towards like specific topics and ones that are important for, people that are learning nature journaling. So I'd probably spend more time, creating those videos. And then I'd also, I think I would do a little bit of what all of you have mentioned, including just trying to like make my business more sustainable. So those are some of the main things. I for a while was trying to do like a printed product that I was sending to patrons. I might bring that back in if I had more support, or maybe doing more traveling and nature journaling in places where there's like endangered ecosystems, and trying to use that channel as a way to bring attention to the places where like our choices can and make a difference on endangered ecosystems around the world. So that would definitely be one of the things that I would do. Yeah, this is great that like you have all of us here. All four of us have very different teaching styles and personalities and focuses. So we're not competitors. I think that's the big thing here, that what I'm seeing and that we should all remember is that we all are very unique, and the more nature journal ambassadors there are, the better the options are for our whole community. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And they've done studies on Patreon where it's like like there's like when there's like a neighborhood that has like multiple businesses, they actually can get like more people coming there because there's more things that the people can do in that area. And Patreon has found that there isn't a competition thing, usually doesn't end up like reducing how many people sign up. So I think there's so much to talk about here. And I had a whole bunch of more questions, but let's just smash through a couple lightning round questions and then close off here because we're already basically at an hour. So everybody make your best lightning sound.
Wait, does lightning make sound? Isn't it thunder that makes sound?
Good question. Write that down in your nature journal. Okay, so we're going to try to answer these kind of quickly with some yes or no's and then some longer questions after that. So first, and we'll go Beth Ann, Melinda, Amaya. First question, have you ever fallen asleep while nature journaling?
Never. It's too interesting.
Melinda.
No.
Amaya.
I've come close just because it was really late at night.
I was actually thinking about you for that question. Okay, next question. Just because I know you push you're burning the candle on both ends or whatever. Next question. Have you ever lost a journal?
Yes. I was looking for my journal this morning when you said...
off a boat or like...
Oh, no, I just lost it in the mess of my house. Never in an exciting location.
Okay, all right. Melinda, have you ever lost a journal?
Misplaced temporarily, yes, but no, not lost. Usually my current journal is always in my bag.
Nice. Amaya,
I've misplaced it in the mess of my room, but not lost it. Thankfully, that's like the one thing is like I can't lose it.
biggest fear. Yeah, most valuable possession. Okay, great answers. Next question. Are you a perfectionist?
I used to be a perfectionist and now I am not. I've completely smashed that away from myself. I think it's just the worst thing and I actively push it away when it comes up. So I would say no.
And no for me.
No, I'm too messy to be a perfectionist now. When I was little, I used to be, but not anymore.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna start a perfectionists recovery group.
Yeah, Perfectionist
Facebook.
Anonymous.
Yeah. Okay, next question. Do you like to nature journal alone or with other people?
I love both, but at the moment, because my world is so busy with kid stuff, that I'm tending towards being alone. It's one of those recharge moments.
Yep.
I like both, but I think that being alone gives me more freedom to move around wherever I want, where I feel drawn.
Mm.
I think I like with other people because I nature journal so much by myself right now, but I like it too when I'm with other people, even they aren't nature journaling. It's just fun.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. What face do you make when someone says you are when you're nature journaling? What face do you make when someone comes up and says you are so talented? I could never do that. Okay, that's Beth. Beth Ann, do that again. Okay, what about you, Melinda? What face do you make when they say that?
I think I quietly roll my eyes. Is that like I roll my eyes out of view?
Okay, great. How about you, Amaya?
I'd just be like, okay, sure.
All right. Okay, if you could go in a time machine to any place in history or the future to nature journal, where would you most want to nature journal in time? Amaya looks like she's ready, so we'll start with Amaya and then go
That's
back
a
to
ready
everybody.
face.
I was thinking about it. So this year for my history, I'm learning about about America, and we're getting a bunch of unconventional books and reading them. And I was like, it would be really fun to nature journal with Lewis and Clark because they kept their own nature journals. So.
Okay, all right, we got it. With Lewis and Clark, so those were explorers, European American explorers crossing what is now the United States for people who don't live in the U.S. Great one. Okay, how about you, Melinda?
Yeah, mine would be the dinosaur era. I don't know exactly which era that is, but my daughter is a budding paleontologist, and we did a trip to Utah a few weeks ago, and I got hooked in the geology and the fossil record, and I'm so freaking fascinated. I wish that I could be there to see the amazing plants and animals that were around.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, Melinda. I'm going to copy Melinda because
We go together.
Yeah, we'll go together. We'll make a little dinosaur hide so we don't get eaten by anything. And then we'll hide in there and nature journal together. Because I have a son who loves dinosaur books too. And you just go into it and it's like, yes, this is where we're going.
Yeah, nature journaling back then would be pretty crazy. Okay, cool. So if you could have it, some of you have done this question before, but if you can change your mind, if you could have a nature journaling superpower, what would your superpower be? And we'll go back to our normal order, starting with Beth Ann.
Oh, gosh. I think I said that I was going to have eyes for binoculars, but I'm going to have eyes that now I'm going to have eyes that are microscopes. Go the other way.
All right, cool. How about you, Melinda? What is your superpower?
My superpower, I think, would be communicating with the plants, animals.
That's a good one. You guys, I was like dinosaurs. Oh man, that's a fun. But I was thinking, I would love to have the ability to breathe underwater and journal with whales. And
so cool.
I like it.
Awesome. Okay, last question for the lightning round is What animal would be best at nature journaling?
Ooh. Amaya's got it. Go to Amaya.
Maya, yeah.
A barn owl. I don't know why, but I feel like a barn owl would be really good at it because owls are so like oh no, I changed my mind. A praying mantis. Like, have you ever looked at a praying mantis? Like, so much is going inside of their head. Like, they would be really good.
They could probably like hold a pencil with their
Right,
thing
like-
too. So, all right. How about you, Melinda?
Yeah, I got it. A crow. They're
Mm.
super intelligent. They remember things, and they. I'm pretty sure they could probably hold a pen.
Mhm. Nice.
I love that. Do you know what? And I don't know why that's coming to my mind. An eye. Do you know those super
Yes!
weird
Oh,
lemurs, and they have that enormous finger, and they can. I don't know. Maybe they can dip it in ink and do some
Oh gosh, yeah. Okay, so if you don't, I can't remember if it's spelled how it's spelled.
AYE. AYE.
If you haven't, definitely Google
it
that
out.
animal after
Really
the show's
cool.
over. Very interesting. I think they're a prosimian.
Yep.
And they're
They are.
a primate. Okay, so that's amazing. Amazing lightning round. Good job, everybody. Everybody survived.
Marley, I want to know if you've ever lost a journal in a nature journaling accident.
Not yet, but I dropped one into I was on a canoe on a tributary of the Amazon, and I was nature journaling, and I dropped it into the water, but I grabbed it before it sank down to the bottom. That was probably the closest that I've been.
You need a lanyard.
I know, right? Just
Or
like a
like
little
a-
leash.
Or like a little thing that straps to your hand, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe, yeah, that's a good idea. We'll look into that for sure. All right, great lightning round, everybody. So sort of closing questions here, big picture questions, and we'll go in our regular order is what impact do you individually want to have on the nature journaling community? Like if you could leave a mark on, our community, or sort of like, yeah, leave your sort of main kind of lesson, what would that be?
I love that, and I don't know if I'm articulate enough to answer it on the spot, but my feeling is that that I want people to know that it's okay to live from the heart, that it's okay to be vulnerable, that it's okay to put your feelings in your nature journal, that it's okay to just to be living with heart open. That's my answer.
Great. How about you, Melinda?
A couple things. One, as a trained scientist, and also someone who has a very deep spiritual and nature connected sense, I want people to know that you can hold both in a nature journal. That, like Bethan said, you can write from the heart, and you can also look more logically, analytically. And the other big thing that I would love to help people know and to be able to do is to be here now, to be present, to be in this moment, in your place, wherever your nature place is, to be in your nature, to get to know that place, and to not feel like you have to do nature journaling. That being in nature, using these skills of observation, curiosity, wonder, discernment, all those things, you can still have that and be present. So the journal is a tool that helps you get there.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Cool. Okay, how about you, Amaya? What's your signature that you want to leave
It's
on
not
the
going to be
community?
as like deep as Melinda's was. Mine's more about like the funny aspects of like nature and stuff. But that's what more is me. But I feel like what I would want to like impact is my goal is to get as many kids as I can to nature journal and as many teens. I'm trying to wrangle them and come on with me.
Yeah.
My impact is to get more kids and more teens to understand nature journaling and why everybody's doing it, because it's the new cool thing.
Yeah.
I love that, Amaya.
Yes. Excellent. Wow. Okay. Geez, this is awesome. Okay, so last question here is, is there anything that you want to share that we didn't have a chance to talk about, or is there something that I should have asked you about that is really important, that you want to make sure that you get to share a little bit about?
That is a good question. And I don't know. I just feel like I want to express gratitude for you, Marley, for setting this up and for being one of those people who connects us all together, and for the people watching and for the people who are supporting this work through Patreon. I guess that's the last thing I want to say. Just thank you for being here and for the support. It's wonderful.
Nice gratitude there. How about you, Melinda? Is there anything that we didn't get a chance to talk about that's important for you?
Yeah. Actually, the other thing that, I just love Amaya's energy. The other thing is just to lighten up, to find the joy, to find, like, don't make nature journaling so serious. There is no right or wrong. So to find joy in life, joy in nature journaling, and to live with open heart of gratitude. So, I want to express my gratitude, Marley, to you for all of your work that you do and inspiring people in a way that I can't do it. Like each of us are doing it in ways that are unique to us. So I'm really grateful for all of you, for all the supporters here on Patreon that are listening now, and for everyone who has supported me in the last year and a half. Every one of you who has come to support me in a class or in our Nature Journal Club, you have helped me to get where I am today. It's a collective. I really believe it's a collective effort. All of us together, there's this really great energy. So know that you are a valuable part of this community.
Nice. How about you, Amaya? Anything that I should have asked that got left out?
I just want to thank everybody. I'm super thankful for everybody. I'm super thankful for all my patrons, because it means so much to me. It makes me think, people like the magazine.
Yeah.
Even when people message oh, I love this, I'm like, you do. But also something that I want to say is I'm definitely I wouldn't want to say the unconventional nature journaler, but I'm more of the funny, hey, let's chat, nature journaler, if that kind of makes sense. My YouTube videos are so different from Marley's. I look at Marley's and go wow, he's got some good information in there. And I'm mine's full of bloopers every time I messed up. So I'm definitely the unconventional one. So if you want a really good laugh, you can watch my videos.
Awesome. Yeah, I could second that. Sometimes getting a good laugh is so important, though. Cool.
I thought of one extra thing to say, which is that supporting someone on Patreon is really wonderful. And there's another way that you can support creators, which is just to drop a message. It's so nice to get an email from someone to say, this is what I thought, this is what I felt. And just receiving those little messages of validation helps go forward. So just drop someone, if you appreciate someone's work, just drop them an email. It's really, really nice.
Yeah, that's so important in the sort of cyberspace virtual community that we live in. Sometimes it's hard, after you put in all this work making a video, and then you don't know if
it goes into a void and you don't know if anyone's listening. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for joining in and making the time to share about your nature journaling education projects and your Patreon. And I'm just going to go through here and say thank you to a lot of the people who are watching and commenting. I know some of you are going to watch this as a recorded version. So thanks for watching. And people who are commenting, thank you, Debbie, Angie, Leslie, Jean, Cindy, and a whole bunch of other people. Ivea, you all know Ivea, Jose, a whole bunch of people who joined in for the live. Thank you all so much. And Get out there if it's still light, even if it's dark or whatever. Try to get some nature journaling in. If you haven't been like sketchnoting nature journaling during the conversation, I know Amaya would do it. So if Amaya can nature journal it, you can too. So everyone go out there and do some of your own nature journaling. That's what part of what this is meant to do, is inspire you to nature journal. It's not just about consuming the nature journaling or the conversation about nature journaling. All right, well, thank you all.
We'll just say a huge thank you to Marley. Let's just all point at Marley and say thank you, because he has just done so much work, and he puts in enormous amounts of hours into creating the Nature Journal show every week, and all the editing, all the behind the scenes things that you don't see. It's amazing what you do, Marley, and you're just producing and giving us so much. So we are all really grateful to you.
Thank you, Beth Ann. That's so sweet. Okay, everyone go nature journal.
All right. Thanks, Marley.
Bye.
Bye.